You're trapped in here with me. And trapped.
Are they really trapped?
No, they're not trapped. It was just it's
You're just engaged. You're brought so deep into the broadcast. I almost forgot the name. I was like, what is this? What are we doing? What is this? What is this we're doing here?
Into the broadcast.
By the way.
Yeah, this is a broadcast if you didn't realize. I know Gore's not dressed up professionally enough to make you realize that. I had to dress down. Just to compliment and contrast what Gore brings to the table, which is just ultimate
the same 10 outfits
professionalism
every couple of weeks.
No one notices.
I do.
The only consistent thing that is consistent with your outfit that everyone should notice is his tie clip. Always a tie clip, man.
I don't know why, but I like it. It's flashy, catches the light.
I do like tie clips.
When I talk with my hands, it's about the same level as my rings. So you just get this nice shine across the chest.
My tie actually is throwing the camera off. I apologize for everybody who's looking at my tie. Am I going to a Black Mirror episode here? Vampire Lord, beautiful logo, versus Hungry BattleCats. Hangry BattleCats. All right, Happy, I'm just kidding.
Well, they're probably hungry for a win.
They are. So, Gore, what do you think? Who wins as far as the draft so far, and who wins as far as the logos?
Logos I give to Vampire Lord.
Okay.
I think theirs is a little bit more interesting. The HappyBattleCats, as much as I love their name.
Okay.
That cat doesn't look very happy. It is definitely a battle cat, but it does not look very pleased with itself right now.
No,
as far as the draft goes,
high.
I usually lean
My
towards
dog
Kananara.
is nice. No, this is it's nice. Pet it. Don't you hate those dog owners? Their dog's like snarling at you, and they're like, no, he's nice. Come on. It's like, no, your dog is doing something totally
There's
different.
There's two ways to approach it, right? I don't like, hey, you should pet my dog.
Yeah.
But if you come up and say, like, can I pet your dog? Like, go for it.
Yeah.
And, like, if she's, like, because at least for my dog, like, most of the time she's kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I want you to pet me. I don't know who you are. Let me sniff you first. And, like, that's the engagement. It's like, okay, here's the sniff. Here's the pets. Awesome. You're friendly. I'm friendly. Then we go on with our lives. But it's never, like, walking around the apartment complex being like, you. Pet this dog.
Pet the dog. Hey, what do you got? I know you live. All right, well, let's see if let's see if the dogs get pet here. HappyBattleCats take the W over Vampire Lord in this set. We are in North America. We are in Xbox. Again, the other set that we were going to show has been postponed due to the hurricane. And, you know, send our thoughts and, of course, our prayers with anybody who is affected by that or who may be affected by that. We wish you a, whether it's a speedy recovery or a speedy exit to get to someplace safe. Grover, the last pick here as a support, one of the top supports, I think, especially considering console and the ability for him to heal multiple people. I don't know. It's a nice lineup, but again, the Zen, the Genos, that's one that's worked for so long. So what do you all think? Let us know in chat who you believe is going to win this game with a mixer poll as we get right into the map.
I feel like it's hard to beat Khan, Anara, Furia for your first three pickups. Although
Ouch.
Vivian, Willow, Makoa is definitely something that can contest that.
It is.
A lot of ability to destroy shields, a lot of ability to destroy healing, and in Makoa's case, just a lot of ability to destroy in general. So as long as he can keep that kind of pressure on, I think it'll make the difference. But considering the map we're on, Ascension Peak, it's a little bit wider. And I think that makes it a little bit harder for Vivian to find a place to stay, a little bit harder for Willow to find a place to stay. Drogo's here. And Bomb King, I think, are my go-to blasters over Willow.
And you know, it's not even that they have a hard place, like, but I get what you're saying. It's just, it's more, you have to commit more, right? Because when you choose one location, that's where you are, and that is where you stay. I think Makoa is something that has been a threat for the entirety of Paladins, but you know, Richie, I believe, running is that Opportunity in Chaos. I'm so sorry that I was saying something and not thinking about it, and it is. And SoldierBot running Binary Star. We got quite a few mix-ups as well. Styles running Hair Trigger. Okay,
you know,
boys. Okay.
This is something that we actually got to see. I think last week it was a PGS team that was running the Binary Star. But the difference in the big one is that it is going to be Furia along with that Genos, so you're not going to be getting the healing as much. Still going to make an impact, but it's going to be the damage. How much can they do? Although Furia, especially if she gets her full passive, is probably going to be hitting harder than SoldierBot.
I mean, birds and bees. Holy moly. This guy is fearless, and this is what I like. This is when you put a kind of damage or aggressive-oriented player on a front line like Anara, they can get 2-3 kills. That's why when you see an 0-14, it tells you a lot about a person. Just the fact that they are not finding kills at all. Any little bits of extra damage to clean things up. It's clear HappyBattleCats have the fans' vote as to the success, and so far they've got the maps vote as well, 96%. And that'll be the objective fight going the way of HappyBattleCats. I'm pretty sure They just delayed that by trying to step out and get some elim credits there.
Getting a little bit too aggressive, but again, it always does come down to who can get the point first. They're going to be able to capture that, although maybe a little bit too aggressive in some cases. Reagan going to get a little bit too far ahead of the rest of the team. Apathy Ace actually taking a ton of damage. They're going to get burned down right after capturing it and pushed back. And this is going to be the big downside. While Furia can do a ton of healing, while she can keep a lot of upkeep, and honestly, between her and Genos, they should have the same amount of damage you'd see out of a DPS. It's not any standard champion coming out to frag, right? You're not having the Bomb King. You're not having a Kinessa even, someone that's going to be able to pick that up. You're relying on the support damage to kind of fill the same role you're seeing out of Vivian and Willow. They're going to out-damage them most of the time, so a lot of pressure gets put onto Reagan to perform, to be a great Zen.
Well, we have Vampire Lords looking to hold back, and this is where the Makoa, and we've seen some teams kind of regain their composure, and this is a decent flank. No one even cares. Literally no one's looked at him. Finally, they turn around to say hello to this Makoa. Hilltime, as a result, finds Milka Cat. I mean, very slow reactions here, but Akatsuki goes all the way around the world and makes it back, but not in time for SoldierBot to not pick up a couple of kills. This Zen and this Genos, not because of the usual reasons, have found some success. And boy, oh boy, 3 kills in a row from the support. 8 streak for SoldierBot. Binary Star Genos, hello.
And it's all in his positioning. Look at the fact no one's looking at him. Everyone's going to underestimate how much damage he can go forward with. And admittedly, it's not going to be as much as what you would typically see. But I mean, 335, it is just tick, 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 as you can see, being able to get rid of it. And then that ult charge. He has been getting Vivian almost every single time this has come up.
I mean, you know, he's so zealous, he's even shooting a dome shield, as if it would matter. 20,000 shielding in a dome shield, by the way. But I'm curious to see how fast a Sap Around's Vivian with Wrecker 3 could actually go through a Barrack dome shield. That would be fun to watch. That would be
fun and impressive, I think, at the end of the day, because I think it would be incredibly fast. As the Void Grip comes up, push successful. Vampire Lords maybe looking the wrong way. They're over here fighting Genos.
Definitely.
Payload's back there.
Definitely looking the wrong way. But are they looking the right way, too? Because 7-0-4. Binary Star Genos, SoldierBot, I'm sorry I question you. I am sorry I question you. Overall, though, HappyBattleCats, everyone felt that the draft was so much better. And it wasn't just because of this Genos. I mean, he's getting it's almost the cause, right? Or the symptom, right? Rather than the exact cause of the issue. Because, you know, Khan, Furia, Inara, Gord, they're just so tanky.
And they warrant a lot of attention. I think that's the big thing about the rest of this. Yep. You want to get rid of Furia. That's your goal. But to get to Furia, like you said, you have to get through the Inara, get through the Khan. Both tanky. Both can do a considerable amount of damage as well if you're not paying enough attention to them. And so for Genos, he just kind of sits in the back. He can fire as much as he wants. And he also has Zen kind of creating some space for him. They're looking over towards him.
Do it, baby. Through time and space. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh! And they juke it just in time. SoldierBot almost had a great play there. Not even able to get the Shell Shield cooldown from that Seismic Crash. And wow, that's a couple of ultimates used, found 0 value, and that will definitely do it for a point fight. If that happens multiple times in a row.
That's more than enough to not only push you away, but to give complete control. I mean, Vampire Lord have the comeback mechanic, and that is usually about as easy as it takes to be able to grab up a point. Although there's just enough presence from HappyBattleCats, they might be able to not only contain it, but come back in and try to stop it. But they need to get in there fast. That's 93%. They're going to have Inara step onto the point, but it might be a little bit too late if these Vampire Lords can keep control.
And this is where Richie really wants to succeed, right? When there's pressure, and this is where he can succeed. Opportunity and chaos. I mean, it's so apropos, the name just meaning that in the chaos, if he keeps firing, he'll keep doing that much more damage. And look at that, Solar Blessing doesn't give a damn, does it? It just heals her right back up to full. Furia, Inara, one of the more potent combinations as far as sustain. Reagan finds one on the hill time. And so that will be a Willow out of the fight. Vampire Lords fighting with 4, but HappyBattleCats fighting with 3. Birds and Bees and Knees has to find himself just in a corner, but he's still contesting, so it's not over yet. Can they get enough supports back to keep the Inara alive and well?
It was a good wall, being able to keep that Ancient Rage Makoa at least locked away. 81% right now on the Seismic Crash. That 97% has been stalled, but it's going to be up to these shots. This damage, can they make the difference? You have to kill off this Makoa. That needs to be your target. As of right now, though, Inara still relatively untouched.
Oh, and this is a missed kill. SoldierBot misses a couple of shots, and now it takes a little bit longer than he was hoping for. And HappyBattleCats, oh man, chat, you guys are so smart. Their sustain just out-sustains all of Vampire Lord's points. The 500 damage gets the kill. That's rare. Bird's Bee's Knees absolutely having himself a breeze on this objective. Just tanky and supported by all his friends and family.
And he just played the corner perfectly. And that's one of the things. Ascension Peak is going to be different because, as you can see, he's standing on a giant rectangle as opposed to the typical circle that you would have. And just being able to use this statue that he's right to the left, put a wall up to your right, you lock yourself, you isolate yourself. Makoa didn't get anything. There were just so much damage that couldn't find its home on Inara that she was able to stand there. Didn't matter if she had a support behind her. Both Fury and Genos were dead.
I mean, it's so interesting to see this composition. I wonder how well this will translate to PC, if at all. Not only taking away the Genos from a draft, like Vampire Lords, right, so that you don't have the Genos augmenting the Makoa, the Willow, and maybe the Vivian, but just adding this, like, binary star switch-up, which is really proven to be valuable. I wonder if the damage charts, we're going to see Genos kind of maybe close to leading the charge there. I know Vivian has not really found many opportunities in the Chaos, and Storm of Bullets Khan as well. I mean, a lot of risks being taken in the draft, but it has worked out for HappyBattleCats thus far.
I feel like Richie has pretty much just been constantly getting bullied.
By Khan.
Every single time I see him come through, it is either overpowered off the map, shots from Khan hitting headshots. Sometimes it's Genos just being able to hit the through time and space. But there's so much that he hasn't been able to accomplish just because he's such a big target. It's because this Vivian could make a big difference if given that room. Unfortunately, Richie has never been able to take, honestly, more than 2 steps away from his base.
Yeah. Regan finds hill time yet again. That matchup seems to go the way of the Zen for the most part. Akatsuki V with a nice hook, but man, what has it done, Gore? What has it done? Absolutely nothing thus far. Ultimate's not quite charged. It is the Whirlwind available for the Grover. But I think this looks like quick demise for VampireLord64 and their squad.
Pressure's on. Payload's right outside the gate as far as they're concerned, but they do have respawn proximity. They do have a couple of ults that might make the big difference, mainly Ancient Rage if that can come through in time, or if it's going to make the big difference. Of course, it won't matter. Overpowered just came back up, and if you can get rid of one Makoa, then that's going to make this so much easier, and that's exactly the play they want to go for, but it doesn't work out!
Oh, and he used the Ancient Rage just to be able to not fall off the map, not to get thrown off the map is important there in the defense. However, Akatsuki has overcommitted potentially. He's gotten the Void Grip. And that's another thing, a useful bit of CC that Genos brings that really isolates a target.
15 seconds
and now what do you do? Same situation, overpower. Not used, of course, and not available.
9.
HappyBattleCats, though, with the Seismic Crash from the Inara, with the Zen Ultimate. Baldy just getting moved farther and farther back, and Regan with the Guillotine just takes care of Akatsuki like that.
Dome Shield tries to come through, does get consumed, but it's not going to make a difference. Styles goes down. Hilltime going to be able to find a kill, but gets traded out for Soldier Bot as he finds the kill, and they back up into it.
Baby.
He finds the shot, and that's how you push in a payload.
It's like just stand like
a little to the
right there. No, a little farther. Yeah, right. Yeah, perfect. Just wait there. Wait there. Soldier Bot lines it up, gives his best Kamehameha impression, and ends up taking that one 1-0, but we still have one more map potentially coming forward, unless we'll see Vampire Lords come back from the dead. They'll find some blood, some life-sustaining properties to turn around what didn't really look like a great start.
4-0 on Ascension Peak, to me, seems like it'd be kind of easy to ride that momentum to a 4-0 on Frog Isle, but it is going to depend more, I think, on the draft. It feels like there was a lot that HappyBattleCats were able to bring in that was just different enough. I mean, it's not often that you see Genos and then you go, okay, this guy's going damage.
He's
like,
going
I have to deal with
star.
that.
Yeah.
You have to play around with it a little bit more. And it can work, but it is in very few instances. I believe it was either them last week or a different team in the PGS tried out Binary Star, and the entire time we were just like, what are you doing? Like, it's just sometimes it works wonderfully, and sometimes it falls off. I still feel personally that it's okay, but you really could do with another damage champion.
Yeah, you really could. I think that's one of the bigger conversations here around how V-Lords augment this lineup. I mean, HappyBattleCats did something that is similar, where we'll see a... it's interesting. Grover sometimes would fill that role. As a little bit of ferocity, Grover would come in, not be the healer, but be a supplement burst healer. Pip is really the example I was looking for, where he comes in as a damage support, not as a... This is the guy who's healing my front lines and my my damage healers as well. He is a damage healer. They can heal himself. They can throw a little bit to the side, and he brings the burst. But right now, HappyBattleCats have somehow manipulated this draft to get Makoa Koga.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good draft.
I will say, if you're going to start off, I mean, it's hard to beat the Khan Inara, but I feel like Makoa Koga could definitely be up there on the list.
Yeah.
Torvald, Inara, Furia, I feel like this is going to be the make or break. If you see Torvald have a phenomenal game, if he has a lot to augment, depending on the rest of Vampire Lord's draft,
here.
It could be real good.
Yeah, I mean,
otherwise, I think you'll see the reason that Khan's stronger.
Yes, and I think you'll see the reason, too, that the way that HappyBattleCats are playing today is just kind of catching, I think, Vampire Lord off guard. I mean, the Grover coming in this early is an interesting pick because it's taking away what Vampire Lord might want to do. With already, you know, the Furia selected, this Grover is a little bit allowing HappyBattleCats to see the Tyra, to see the Zen, and then know, okay, how do we want to aggress towards this? Do we want to get another front line? Do we want to actually add another support like a Pip, like we've seen work? Do we want to go back to the Genos? And they're going to go for the Fernando. They just feel like it's going to be a lot of damage we need to be able to sustain with a double front line.
Part of me was really hoping for another support to come through, and that it was going to actually, instead of Grover, you're running Efflorescence, that he would actually switch over to the Ferocity that we used to see, because this was one of the maps that I was relatively big on. Part of the reason I think he started when he made that step into the meta, Frog Isle was the one that led the way. I was hoping for it. I don't think we're going to see it.
So HappyBattleCats maybe not winning the front line, although they've got Makoa, they've got Fernando. I don't know about not winning. It's pretty close to me.
But not having a Nara.
But they also have Koga. Yeah, exactly, not having a Nara. Who do you think will win? Let us know in the chat who gets your vote. And HappyBattleCats would have to get my vote because they've got a good draft. They've got Koga, who we've yet to see lose, really, in console. And we've also seen their performance in Game 1, which was just quite a bit better and more superior in nearly every facet over Vampire Lord. But we'll see. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's a new map.
Soldier Bot going to switch from the Binary Star Genos over to the Adrenaline Junkie Koga.
Look at that.
So it's going to be, I think, a different change of pace completely. I mean, last game he was sitting pretty much always in the back behind the front lines. Now he's going to be the one leading the way. Koga is also one of the only flanks on this map I think have an easy time getting into the back line, just because immunity through his dashes, being able to get over there without taking too much damage.
Now here's a big loadout situation. Decrease, increase, change, whatever you want to call it. Unstoppable. I just did a video commentary about this and this card that has been so valuable in my opinion, and it kind of came out of nowhere in my eyes. But the 30% damage reduction, the uptime of that, 4 seconds, it feels like HappyBattleCats are as confused as we are for Vampire Lord and their start.
Where are they? Styles dies. They're all hanging out way back there, as we can see through Spectator, but...
Well...
I mean, for Milk a Cat, he's just like, I'm going to hold the angle.
Yeah, let's just take the time to talk a little bit about this. Not only Milk a Cat, and what I have not found out yet, he hasn't hit me up on Twitter, whether it's a Meet the Parents reference or not, his name. But just his loadout. And so what we usually see is Verdant Expanse 5. We see Perennial 5. We see maybe some kind of augmentation of the grass, the vine grass. That's a popular thing for players. But what happens with the Grover with Unstoppable is that when you go into Perennial 5 and you allow yourself to get this cooldown reduction and you start, I don't know if we can take a look at the items to see where he starts with either the Chronos or the Morale Boost. When you start with the Chronos, you basically put yourself in a position, there it is, to have a second, 3.5 seconds off what is a 10-second cooldown, which is 6.5 seconds. Unstoppable lasts for 4 seconds, so you literally have 2.5 seconds of your life, essentially, as Grover, where you are not 30% more damage reduced, which is incredible. I mean, that's an incredible amount of uptime for a champion to have that damage reduction alive and well. So Grover hasn't been available in PC, but when he is back available, I expect to see this a big part of his loadouts for pro players.
And honestly, it's that change-up that you have to make, and it's going to be different, I think, on different maps. Verdant Expanse is going to be great on the much wider maps, but 30% is still a real big radius for this Grover. You don't need to extend it, especially on a map like Frog Isle, to that 50%. Yeah, that's 2 points that you can free up. And when you just have a little bit like that you can augment, it changes so much in your loadout.
Absolutely, and that's what you see. You see that this radius expansion, when you run Efflorescence, is already within the talent. The talent gives you 50% bigger radius already. So, I mean, why even worry about it? Why even worry about it? I mean,
that
you can
100% bigger circle.
I know, I get 100% bigger or 80% bigger. I mean, what do I got to trade out for 30% damage reduction nearly all the time? Yeah, I'll take that trade, no problem. I mean, I'll go down to 60%. I'll keep the 50. You know what I mean? At that point, because I think the card that he's gotten there as well that's interesting is basically the Moxie version of Forbid, the rebound. So, I mean, I think this is interesting. It doesn't scale as well because it's not a 10%.
Yeah.
Which is why you don't see it at that high level. When you look at cards and what they do, in Paladins, a good rule of thumb is if it's kind of the value of an item in the utility tree, right? Like a 10% is a big value. Is that Rejuvenate? No, it's half of it. So you may want to be careful. But right now, milking cat. Maybe milking a cat. Caught sleeping. At this point, he doesn't save his Makoa front line.
It's nice to see. Vampire Lords did remember where the point was this time around. They're going to get aggressive. Unfortunately for them, it's not going as well as they would have thought. Maybe they got lost last time around, but this time they're just getting sit back to base the old-fashioned way. They're getting killed off one by one right now. Nara standing up. Fury is still standing, but Richie is gone, as was the rest of the team. But this is going to be a combo to break down.
Yeah, so I wonder who's winning the bowl battle right now.
I know who I'm leaning towards.
I know who I'm leaning towards as well. HappyBattleCats seem to have figured a few things out, but this is closer. This is closer than the last one. And I think it is because they have the Inara, they have the Tyra, they have the Torval. You never know how that's going to play. It's very execution-based. They even have the Furia.
There's also the important caveat that that poll was taken before the first round.
Retaliation. You're right, Gordon.
So, but the way things have gone, I feel like it's shifted relatively heavily. That point, 96%, 99 is going to be able to get captured. Inara not going to be able to get there in time. Although, you do see HappyBattleCats maybe getting too aggressive or maybe just zoning the appropriate amount.
Yeah, it's zoning the appropriate amount, but a retaliation Zen from Richie, we just don't see it very often. It's a little memey because the second that you figure it out, it doesn't really have the same impact unless Richie really forces the issue. But it's interesting. And I mean, that ultimate spike looked very damaging, so I could be wrong. I thought I saw retaliation, but looked like he finished off that Makoa very quickly. Maybe he had some help from his friends.
Hyper Beam almost able to get Soldier Bot, but does get a couple of members. Actually, only the one in Milk a Cat. We do see the Shell Spin come through and save the Makoa once again. HappyBattleCats are having the unfortunate push that they are. The payload hasn't really gotten to leave.
Right.
As Vampire Lords have gotten aggressive, and it's just making me wonder, where's this Vampire Lords team been the last 3 points that have been grabbed?
I mean, I think maybe it was just a slow start. Sometimes you have a slow start to a race, you know? And you're not a sprinter, you're a distance runner. You make it up over time. Just like in school, you know, some kids are slow starters and they find their rhythm in middle school or high school or maybe even in college. I mean, maybe after college. I mean, heck, there's so many people who kind of get into the rhythm in, you know, adulthood in their 20s, and there's even people in the 30s. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time on a map to figure it out. They seem to have found at least something that works. But on Frog Isle, such a punishing situation. When you don't start off strong, it's really hard to end strong.
Going to be able to come up right after the shield goes down. Hilltime was really caught between a rock and a hard place. There was nowhere that you could feel that was safe, especially once that bubble disappears. No Torvald able to reapply that in time. And now the payload's starting to get pushed about the way you would have expected it. Soldier Bot dancing around this team beautifully and playing it a little differently. I feel like every single Zen I'm learning, every single Koga, I'm seeing a little bit more about Koga that is making me wonder what if there is ever going to actually be a final stylized playstyle for him.
Yeah, you know what? I thought this from the beginning and this is why I like Koga. It's just, there's always the ability to put your style on. And I think that was a guillotine, by the way.
Get your style on.
There's always a little bit of a way to get your style on. And, you know, that's what Champions Paladins is about, man. Champions of the realm, but you decide what your champion looks like and plays like. HappyBattleCats, they have an idea. They execute it. It seemed like there was maybe just Vampire Lords not having their best day and maybe just getting off to a slow start. But that's going to do it for this set, this matchup. And unfortunately, because our other set was postponed due to the Hurricane Florence, going to do it for this region of North America Xbox. So we're going to be taking a quick break after we give you a look at the schedule and the standings. What's going to be taking place is that we will show you those two images, and then we're going to be taking that break to figure out the European PS4 sets and see if we can get those shown to you guys. Again, we're going to be doing our best gore overall, though, in North America for Xbox. What you expected from HappyBattleCats?
Yeah, kind of, especially after the way they've gone. In the last couple of weeks, they've looked solid, but it is always that you're going up against Kirsty's Hands, up against Onslaught, which admittedly are some of the stronger teams in the region. It's going to be very difficult, a lot of veterans on them. I'm actually excited, of course, that was the match that was postponed, but I'm excited to see what the results are for that, because that is a land determiner. That is something that could make or break a team being able to come to play at a console wars.
Yeah, and ultimately, Elevate and Oni-Channers, those are pretty much the two teams that are in the top side of North America PS4, so that's another really exciting thing. And of course, Flashpoint, they were our land winners in the summer, they were our land representatives in the summer and in the, I guess, spring, or they're land winners in the spring, representatives in the summer.
Yes.
And now we're in the fall. I'm learning my seasons as we go here on Cast, guys. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, or maybe we'll try to figure out what's going on with the PS4. I don't know if it will be instant or if it will take a little bit of time, but bear with us, and we'll try to get you back as soon as possible here for more console action coming at you after this.